Are alive.
Yes, we are.
Hey, it's Chris Homestead and Hardway, and I've noticed something needs attention I need to tell you all about. The alternator seems to give a lot of people a lot of trouble on 12-volt conversion tractors and older farm tractors, and I want to cover that right quick. This is a Delco alternator. This is what we call a 3-wire Delco alternator. He uses this plug, and on a gas tractor, he uses this plug with a resistor. Diode. Now, if you'll come in here, now this is on my old raggedy tractor I use around the shop here, but it's the only one I have handy. Checking with a test light, this wire will be hot all the time. It's going to your battery. This is the wire that charges the battery. This wire here that goes to what we'll call the right side of the plug, which will be this side of the plug here without the diode, or the red wire on the plug, the red wire or the green wire. You should get the point. You see the tab that holds the plug in, this wire or this wire. You can do it either way, but most people just have it hot all the time. This wire with the diode is the wire that excites the alternator. It makes it kick on. And it goes back to the ignition. It'll come on, it'll come with power when the ignition is on. If it doesn't, these alternators will not charge. And what I see a lot is corrosion, or that the spade terminal inside the alternator will be rusted off, will be corroded off. This wire will be cold, no switch. This wire, you can do it either way. You can run it back to the switch and have it come hot with the switch, or you can have it hot all the time. Either way will work. I usually go right to the back. But if you don't have everything on the alternator hot, it's supposed to be hot, it's not going to work. And I'll show you here. Can they see? That wire gets hot with the switch. Goes off with the switch. The point in the diode is you're running most of the time with your ignition switch, unless you do something way out of the way, like put a toggle switch on this wire. You're running off the same speed on the ignition switch that runs the points. So what will happen is when the alternator's charging, it will not cut off. When you cut it off, the alternator will backfeed to the points and you can't cut the tractor off. The other thing I want to hit on right quick is with an alternator, you cannot unhook the battery to see if it's charging. You can't go by the theory that I unhook the battery and it cut off, therefore the alternator's bad. Because if these two wires here, either one of them don't have current, it won't charge. It just goes flat. All you'll have is battery voltage. Now there's a Delco 1-wire, what they call a 1-wire alternator. It's very popular for conversions. And there is some tractors, I keep one in stock, there are some tractors that use them factory. And the only wire they have on them is this battery wire back here at the back. This wire right here is the only wire it has. I don't like them. It takes high RPM for them to ignite, excite, whatever you want to call it, what this yellow wire here does. A lot of times on your older, like one-row farm-alls and Cubs and stuff, it's almost redlined before it'll come on and start charging. And a lot of the older people that run these tractors won't ever rev them up to high. You can tell them, you got to crank the tractor, rev it up after it warms up a minute, and they'll start charging. They'll never do it. They'll idle around, do what they got to do, and eventually they'll kill the battery. But here's another little quick, easy tip if you ever want to know if your alternator's working or not. They're starting from the ground kill, so don't do it. Check alternator with your pocket knife. the back, this part here at the back will get magnetic if it's charging. If you crank the tractor and this is magnetic, the alternator is charging. May not be charging right, but it's at least charging. Something else I want to talk about, there's a lot of confusion on this. This is something you need. I don't care if you're a home mechanic, farmer, homesteader, whatever you are, you need a multimeter. I caught these on sale at Sears. They were $10 a piece. I bought 10 of them. The $3 Harbor Freight ones are fine for what you're fixing to do here. This will save you more trouble, more aggravation, and more confusion. You want to check your alternator. Right here we've got 12.64 volts. That's battery voltage. That's what's in the battery. Now, I'm going to have to crank this tractor so you're not going to be able to hear me, so pay attention. I don't know if you saw that, but if these two wires right here do not have proper voltage, it will not charge. Buy you a $5 multimeter. It'll save you a lot of trouble. I may try to do some videos on how you check different things with a multimeter, but you can do a lot with it. You can use the starter to load the battery. I mean, you can determine a lot with a multimeter. But remember, lost my little plug. If it's a diesel tractor, you don't need a diode. If it's a diesel tractor with a manual shutoff, you don't need a diode. If it's an electric shutoff, you may need it still. This is actually a John Deere part for tractors with electric shutoffs. This is, I don't know, I think I sell them for about $6, so they probably cost me just a little bit less than that. This is a Delco alternator plug. This is the same Delco alternator that would be on that 87 Chevrolet truck, 85 Chevrolet car. It's just an old GM alternator. But to rehash it right quick, this is the wire that excites the alternator. It's white or yellow normally. This is the wire that tells the alternator to keep charging or not keep charging. This is the wire that tells it how much current's in the battery, because it's got an internal regulator and needs this wire. And then you usually, and the wire on this tractor really ain't big enough, but I'm not the one that converted it. Somebody else did it, hence the store-bought brackets. But this wire here, all it does is charge the battery. Remember, if you've got a rubber plug in this hole, right here with no plug at all and one wire going right here that's going to the battery or to the amp gauge and to the battery, you have what is called a one-wire alternator. And if it's not charging the battery, you may just need to rev up the engine. Get a multimeter, like I said. They can be cheap, they can be good, just something to give you an idea of some volts. And rev the motor up and see if that's what's wrong, or just stick your pocket knife to the back of it. If it's magnetic, it's charging, and your problem is somewhere further down the line. Remember, you can't charge a dead battery. A battery with a dead cell in it, you'll never charge it. Remember that if you try to charge how do I need to put this? If you leave the key on and kill the battery, I see people do this a lot. If you leave the key on and kill the battery, and then jump the tractor with a dead battery, you hook jumper cables to it and crank it with a dead battery, 70% of the time you'll burn the alternator up before you ever charge that battery back up, especially if you go run it all day. I have trouble convincing people of this. I run into it kind of daily. But alternators not really made to charge batteries. They're made to maintain batteries. if alternators would charge batteries, I wouldn't pay $300 or $400 for battery chargers. I just get an electric motor out of the washing machine and hook it to an alternator and plug it into the wall and hook it to the battery. But anyway, maybe that'll help you a little bit. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I don't mind helping. And just remember, you never plow a field but turn it over in your mind. You have a good evening.